Have you ever wondered what the ultimate act of protest is? What if I told you that for some, the most powerful statement they could make was to become a living flame? Some monks believed the path to heaven, or at least the path to making the world listen, was through fire. It's June 11, 1963, in Saigon, Vietnam. A busy intersection comes to a standstill. A car stops, and an elderly Buddhist monk named Thich Quang Juk calmly gets out. He sits down in the middle of the street in the lotus position. Another monk douses him in gasoline. Then Thich Quang Juk strikes a match and is engulfed in flames. He doesn't scream. He doesn't even move. He just sits there, a silent, burning statue, while the world watches in horror. Photos of his self-immolation were printed on the front pages of newspapers worldwide. A single, shocking image that sent a powerful message against the persecution of Buddhists by the South Vietnamese government. President John F. Kennedy himself said, "No news picture in history has generated so much emotion around the world as that one." This act put immense pressure on the regime and became a turning point in the Vietnam War. It was a protest so extreme, so absolute, that it couldn't be ignored. But Thich Quang Juk wasn't the first, nor the last, to use fire as a final, desperate plea. This practice, known as self-immolation, has a long and startling history woven through different cultures and religions. We can trace it back to ancient India, where Jain monks, practicing extreme asceticism, would sometimes end their lives through ritual starvation or, in rare cases, fire, believing it was a way to purify the soul and break the cycle of rebirth. The tradition also traveled to China with Buddhism. There, stories were told of bodhisattvas who would offer parts of their bodies, or even their entire bodies, as incense to honor the Buddha. The Lotus Sutra, one of the most important texts in Mahayana Buddhism, describes a bodhisattva who fills his body with oils and burns it for 1,200 years as an offering. For these ancient ascetics, it was the ultimate act of devotion, a demonstration of detachment from the physical self, and a profound expression of faith. Even in the West, during the early days of Christianity, martyrs facing persecution by the Roman Empire often met their end at the stake. While they didn't choose it themselves, their willingness to face the flames rather than renounce their faith turned them into powerful symbols of Christian conviction. Their stories inspired generations of believers, from a Vietnamese monk protesting a war to an ancient Indian ascetic seeking spiritual purity. The act of self-immolation is a terrifying yet profound statement. It's a moment when the human body becomes a message, and silence shouts louder than any words ever could. It's when flames do the talking, and history has no choice but to stop and listen. Thank you so much for watching. If you find these hidden corners of history as fascinating as I do, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you do not miss our next journey into the past. See you next time.